Good evening. We are back at 6:31 for the Town Council June 4th meeting. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. All councilors are present.
And if we would please stand for salute to the flag. Human Resources Director Zagami, would you please lead us in the pledge to the flag? It's behind us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Recognitions, awards, and memorials. Councilor Parker, did you want to speak to the GASP, the students?
The SAG group was going to present to us what they did for Prevention Week, and we were hoping they would be here, but they were unable to attend, so I'm hoping they can come at another date and time.
So that's Students Against Drunk Driving at Fitch High School?
Yes.
Very nice. I don't believe we have any other awards or memorials. Public hearings. We have no public hearings. Receipt of citizens' petitions, comments, and concerns. We have no...
Everybody's happy.
Clearly.
You're welcome.
So we have no one here for citizens' petitions, response to citizens' petitions. And we are on to consent calendar. Item number, Roman numeral 7. And Councilor Baumgartner, would you like to move the consent calendar, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar, item 2019-357, item 2019-358, item 2019-392, item 2019-335, and item 2019-393. So moved.
Moved by Baumgartner and seconded by Zepari. There's quite a bit here, so I'll give everybody a minute to go through. So we have 3 sets of minutes, appointments, and trust fund contributions. Does anyone have comments on any of the items here? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor of the consent calendar say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved unanimously. Communications and reports, town councilors, item Roman numeral 8A. Councilor Baumgartner.
Nothing to report.
Councilor Parker.
I attended the Children's First Community Conversation on the prevention of drugs, alcohol, and tobacco last week. With in attendance was the police department and a lot of community members, city, mayor, myself, many from the community speak out. So it was a very nice forum, and many parents. And I also went to the Tippecop that the city of Groton hosted at R4, which turned out very well. Actually, they did it for 2 days, but I believe the town is also doing it. The torch run is tomorrow for Special Olympics.
Councilor Franco.
Attended the beautification committee meeting where we had Wendy Burry come and speak to us, and she's from the Southeastern Connecticut Cultural Coalition, and she's very informative and is really going to try and help us get some things underway. Also went and walked on the land where the Groton sale is being proposed in front of the library on Route 117 with Councilor Aubry, and it is quite a wide section there, and also there's some very large trees, I think, that are blocking the library, and I think when those get removed, if we put the sale there and the memorial, you'll be able to see the library and see what's going on in that area much better. So that's what I've done. How about you?
Councilor
Nothing
Heed.
to report.
Councilor Aubry.
I would suggest that everybody go down and walk that little piece of land, because until you walk it, you don't realize how wide and large it actually is. When you're just going by, you look at it, it looks pretty small. And the only other thing I wanted to mention is that the beautification committee has been asked to put together a plan for plantings in front of Park 4 when they're done with the construction, and we're going to take that on. So we'll have another project going.
Counselor Atwater.
Will they be winter plants?
You're damn right.
I attended the Coast Guard Academy change of command last Thursday. Quite interesting, a lot of pomp and circumstance and so forth. It was enjoyable. I went to the chamber breakfast, Groton update on Friday. Our own John Reiner spoke about the developments in Groton. Chris Murphy spoke about the waterfront. And the one that impressed me was Daniel Messer, I think his name is, the owner of the Oyster Club and Engine Room. And he talked about culinary tourism and how this is something for this area that really will draw people. And it was just a different kind of approach. And then this morning I went to the Children First Groton meeting and was pleased to know that now Parks and Recreation are also working with Children First Groton, which I thought was a nice collaboration. So.
Very good. Counselor Schmidt.
No report.
Counselor Zepari.
No report.
Thank you. I'll report on one item. I attended the Holland Club induction at the subbase, and the Holland Club is for people who have been qualified in submarines for 50 years or more. So there's a class of, I think, about 53 gentlemen who were all inducted into the Holland Club, named for submarine, and it was quite impressive, and we thank them for their service, and it's wonderful camaraderie that they have together. And actually one of the gentlemen that was inducted actually served on the USS Groton, so it's kind of cool. Clerk of the Representative Town Meeting.
Yes, two things to report. The next RTM meeting is June 12th, 7:30 p.m. at the Groton Senior Center, and there has also been a resignation. 3rd District Representative Reginald Stanford has resigned to take a position on the City Council. So that position will be available, and there'll be opportunities at every regular RTM meeting, no special meetings, but regular RTM meetings. There'll be caucuses called at 7:15 until it's filled.
Thank you. Clerk of the Council.
I have nothing to report.
Town Manager.
Good evening. I also attended the Mystic Chamber annual meeting, which very, very good program. John Reiner did a great job with it, and I especially liked the restaurateur. He did a great job with it. The newspaper called me. Pfizer reached out to them about their 60-year anniversary consolidating in their research and development in the town. So they asked me for some quotes, so I talked about after conferring with the mayor, I talked about them being the largest taxpayer, them being the 3rd largest employer, their volunteerism among their employees. They've done a lot, as well as their advances in science. I talked about those things. They asked if we had anything planned the newspaper asked if we had anything planned to recognize them. There's nothing at this moment, but just to let you know about the article, and that should be coming out soon. I don't know if there's anything I want to add to that, but Conservation Commission, John Reiner attended that last night and came back to talk with me. They talked about the plastics ordinance. With summer here, they asked if they could wait till September to hold the hearing they were going to help out with. So that's a request to the council. They don't meet again though till the first week, I believe, of July. So at that point, you're into July as it is. I don't know what the council wants to do, if they want to respond, but they're asking to wait till September. They have time to do it right. So if there's any direction, please let me know.
What is the consensus of the council on that? They don't meet again till July 1st, you said?
Well, first week of July, whatever that
Okay.
Monday would be.
I think the request was they want to be able to do it during the school year, so that's why they wanted September.
Well, part of it was that that they're just, with summer coming, they're busier, there's not as much time and some of the experts won't be as available as other times, but then also they brought up, similar to, you had sent an email bringing up the idea of the schools, they brought it up too, that also then allows them to do the school input or education.
Councilor Parker, did you want to add something?
That was what I was going to say.
Okay.
That seems fine.
Councilor Zafari?
I just feel that we've learned about this problem of there being too much plastic waste, and it's something of a crisis. And to put it off for a period now of September is 4 months away, or 3 months away. put it off for 3 months, I think, for the convenience of some of our staff, I think is sending a wrong message.
Not our staff. It's a committee. It's nothing to do with staff.
I didn't mean, not for the
Yeah.
convenience
Yeah.
of John Burke.
No, I mean, none of it's, no town staff.
All right, but to put it off for convenience of some staff members who have other things that have higher priority. I think that this is a high priority issue. And we've taken a position, and I think we should move forward with that as expeditiously as possible. And I think that we should have that hearing as soon as we can.
Counselor Aubrey.
I believe that the state has put off any action on it for a year, if I read things correctly that came down from Hartford. So I don't think we have quite the sense of urgency because they haven't really decided exactly what they're going to do.
Well, yeah, may I respond?
The manager wanted to jump in as well,
Well,
so
if you're
let's
in the
Counselor
middle,
Aubrey
thank you.
finish. I'm sorry?
I just wanted to point out again, the Conservation Commission is not a staff, it's all volunteers. It's not a single town staff member involved. So
Okay.
there's no town staff asking to postpone it.
You know,
Go ahead.
I want us to do what's appropriate and do it well. But if we do something and then the state doesn't do the same thing, you know, we're not going to accomplish what we want. I think we need guidance from them, see what they really decide that they're going to do, and follow, you know, certainly maybe add to what they're doing, but we've got to do it in a way that we won't be in conflict with them. So that's my reason.
We'll come back and get the others who haven't spoken yet. So we have Franco and Baumgartner and Parker.
I do recall seeing that the state had passed styrofoam one-use containers, a ban on those. And that, I believe, if my memory serves me, that won't go into effect for at least 2 years. So, I mean, the whole thing is about educating people, I think, and also giving businesses time to adapt to the changes that will be coming their way. So even if I personally believe if we delay a couple of months, I don't think it's going to put us back so far when by the time we give the businesses a date, I mean, it's not going to be that far off from the state. I mean, we might actually be going earlier than the state from some of the things that I've read.
Counselor Baumgartner.
Yeah, I know there's 2 years for it to take effect, and the newest provision was banning styrene, so styrofoam products. But I definitely think that in the meantime, we ought to think about in the summer, doing some sort of public forum with folks in the community about what a ban would look like, even outside of just a plastic bag ban. Not included in the state changes was ban on straws in particular. So I understand kids won't be in school, but there certainly will be kids in the community that will have a lot of time in the summer to participate in these these educational forums as well. So I come from the mindset the sooner we do it, the better.
I am in agreement with Counselor Saperi and Counselor Baumgartner that I would like us to move ahead rather than waiting. Counselor Parker, Counselor Atwater, and then Counselor Heed, and then if any second-time speakers.
As I was one of the ones that thought that we should do this correctly without rushing into stuff, I still think they need time to do everything, to get all the groups that they need to set up for the forum, because I believe at the last meeting we had, we decided we're going to do one event, have everybody come in, if I remember correctly, and film it so people can watch it. If we rush it, I don't think we're going to get the turnout or the participation done correctly without having all the pieces in there. 3 months is not that bad. That gives them enough time to get everybody on point to do their displays and set up everything that needs to be done. So I'm hoping that we could postpone it until the September then.
Counselor Atwater.
I agree with all that, and I think the other thing is that just because we don't have the public hearing doesn't mean we can't still talk about it, promote it, talk amongst ourselves about what we'd like to see in the ordinance and so forth. It's not like we have to stop and wait 3 months and then start up again. This is an opportunity for us to really get the word out completely, organize our thoughts and so forth. And again, I don't think, most times when you see an announcement for a meeting or something of this nature, it's a 3-month advance notice anyway. And to do it rushed now when everybody's thinking about vacation and where they're going when the kids get out of school in a couple of weeks, I think it would be foolish to do that. I definitely feel we should postpone it.
Counselor Heed?
Yeah, I think it's a critical issue that needs to be done properly. But this isn't, I also have to, I want to consider that this is not putting a stop sign at the end of the street. This is changing people's behavior. And I think a little bit more time to plan a proper presentation and the public outreach and, going through the schools is great. And we could, during the summertime, for example, invite somebody in and do some presentations or something at the libraries. You don't have to wait for the schools, but I'd like it to be, I personally would like to see it be planned very well and continue to have a conversation so that it isn't just, well, here's an ordinance, let's pass it. Let's make sure this ordinance makes sense, and let's test the different ideas that are out there and get some feedback and keep talking to people and get it done right.
Okay, so I don't
So I would be willing to wait.
I'm sorry.
Sure.
Yeah, I had that. I had written that down. Counselor Schmidt, and then if Aubrey wanted to chime in with their views. And then
I agree
They
that-
haven't spoken yet, Counselor Zepari. We
Well,
want them
Aubrey
to
has.
speak first. That's right. Counselor Schmidt.
I agree that we would be wise to wait and do this properly and not have it be rushed because it is something that is very important to Groton. And I would agree with the comments.
Thank you. So that's 5 that would prefer to wait, so waiting for that. So Counselor Zepari, we can come back to you if you wanted to express anything else.
We're delaying because one of the reasons we're delaying, the first reason that was put up for delaying the end was that the state has decided to put off making a decision. That's a political position. I'm not sure why they decided not to take a position. But the information, the reason why it's compelling is the information that was presented to us at a meeting 2 months ago, 3 months ago, when we decided we wanted to go ahead and ban plastic bags. We had a very limited ordinance, and the problem is much more far-reaching than that. But we still had an ordinance, and it was a step in the right direction. We are accumulating plastic waste at such a high rate that the oceans are even becoming clogged with it. To me, that's incredible. I always thought that it was okay to dump something in the ocean because of the theory of infinite dilution. But it's not so. We don't have infinite dilution. The ocean is finite and it's being seriously damaged. And I think that it's compelling to move forward. Even with our limited motion, our limited ordinance, we can always add to that ordinance later. But to sit back and wait for any period of time for any, and I think all the comments that have been made in that regard are good, sound reasoning. But at the same time, there is a compelling need to do something. And to sit back for 3 months, I think, is not responsive to that compelling need. And that's the only thing that I think. And however the council decides, I understand. But I really think that we have a near crisis on our hands, and we should do our little part to try to move ahead and correct the problem.
Counselor Aubrey and then Franco.
I was just wondering if maybe something that we could do that would head us towards the right way. There was an article a while back in the paper from a gentleman that runs a facility that separates, and he was talking about what should be separated, what goes where, how it goes there. I think if we could invite him to come and speak to us, we could probably make sure that people know that there's going to be a presentation here. And it would be a way to begin the education so that when the committee, who are volunteers, so we can't tell them, get moving, we'd actually know more. So for what it's worth, he said he was trying to reach out and educate people, so I think it'd be a good presentation. We could all form a line down there and separate garbage.
Counselor Franco?
I don't think we're waiting due to the state. It's the Conservation Committee, the Groton Conservation Committee is asking us to delay for a little bit so that they can get everything in order to make sure that their professionals can get their experts come and make their presentations. And also they want to have schools be part of this presentation as well, I believe. Absolutely, we need to do something. And it is a major problem having the plastics in our environment the way they have been. But this is a volunteer group of a conservation committee asking for a couple of months delay to do an educational program for the community. And I don't see why we should deny them that when they're asking for it. This isn't staff, they're not paid, they're, if their experts can't make it to a meeting in this summer because they have other obligations, then I think we should wait for the experts to be able to come in and do this properly. Thank you.
Counselor Baumgartner?
Bear in mind, we're also volunteers.
We are?
But I think it'd be better if we had this conversation offline to discuss kind of the details of Next Step with Outreach. I think it can take the form of a lot of, in a lot of different ways. So that'd be my recommendation.
So if Counselor Overy, you wanted to contact the gentleman that you referenced and have him contact the rest of the counselors, and then we could think about that. I have an idea as well, perhaps bringing in a guest speaker at one of our cows to talk to us, who spearheaded an ordinance through Stonington. Maybe he could come in and talk to us a little bit about that. So we could be doing things on our own if it's not the will to move ahead with the full education effort until later in the summer. Counselor Atwater.
Just speaking of Stonington, I remember when they passed their ordinance banning plastic bags, I think it was like the next day, there was a petition going around to change it because there were so many things that people felt were wrong with it. And it turned out that a lot of the restaurants, particularly merchants, wouldn't sign the petition because they were afraid it would be held against them that they weren't in favor of banning the plastic bags. And it just, to me, says that if you rush into this and you do it wrong, you're really upsetting a lot of people. If you do it systematically and over time, I think you can do a better job.
So everyone has spoken, and it's the consensus of the council to hold off Mr. Burt and give the Conservation Commission time. But I would not like it to extend much further than September. I really would like to see this moving ahead as expeditiously as possible. If they can do this in September, that would be great, and then we can have the schools involved. But we should not be waiting longer than that to do this, in my opinion. The town clerk had,
I was just going to mention one more thing.
Yes.
Just to mention, to thank the Beautification Committee for their interest in the Part 4 and helping out there. Leanne had asked what maybe they could do out there, so I came up with that front circle is going to shrink where those 3 shrubs are, and leaving 2 lopsided shrubs, so those will be torn out. Gary at Public Works has offered staff time if you need help with anything. My understanding, though, is that you have a master gardener, so that'll be good. But we should include Mark Berry, too, just as manager of the property.
She's doing the design now. She was quite excited about doing the design for it.
Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Town clerk indicated she has another communication.
Tag on to what you were discussing about the plastic bag ban or ordinance. In part of the budget that was passed has a tax on plastic bags. It's
The state budget. Yes.
Starting August 1st, there'll be a 10-cent charge. And in 2021, there won't be any plastic bags whatsoever. So that's just to keep in mind. But when we do get to department heads, I do have.
Do you have something else?
Under department heads when you get to it.
Okay. Department heads.
Ah, there we have it. So I am a department head, so. For town clerk's office, as of yesterday, was our first opportunity for the month of June to sell dog licenses. It's a requirement in the entire state of Connecticut that all dogs 6 months or older have a license every June from their town. So please see your town clerk if you have a pooch 6 months or older. If the dog's been altered, that would be spayed or neutered. It's an $8 fee. If the dog has not been spayed or neutered, then it's a $19 fee. If you forget and you find yourself in July, there's a dollar assessed for each month for a late fee required by the state. Also, I wanted to report that the Department of Environmental and Protection and Energy has decided to change vendors for their licensing for sporting licenses. We in the town clerk's office offer this service to any resident. It doesn't have to be, or any citizen. It doesn't have to be a resident of the town or the state. We get a lot of service in other words. So it's going to be going to a web-based software, and so it's going to change how we do things in our office. So I will no longer be able to print out a license at no charge to the taxpayer. I will have to use our resources to print a license if that's what is required. And that's going to be a 2-page license. So with discussions with the town manager, he suggested we charge a fee. So we'll be doing that.
Very good. Any other department heads that wanted to speak at this point?
Can I ask a question?
Of the clerk, yes.
Can we do it front and back rather than 2 pages?
I don't know. We'll see. I'm not sure what the software will support. I haven't played with it yet. So
Thank you.
still 2 pages of toner and electricity. No, whether it's a page or not. Yeah. I can email it though. I can email it to citizens. They can do it themselves at home, by the way, and have been for many years.
Okay, the superintendent is not here, nor any members of the board. However, tomorrow evening, we have the Town Council, Board of Ed, RTM, City of Groton joint meeting at 5:30, so we'll have a chance to talk. I've been in contact with Chairperson Watson to try to progress the resolution of the situation with the robotics team in the vacated school building. So we'll be talking about that. I hope to raise it tomorrow night as well, to see if we can resolve that and get that property sold off.
That's tomorrow evening?
Tomorrow evening, I believe at 5:30. Okay. Anyone else? Yes, Councilor Baumgart.
Quick question. Do we know if there's any existing space in the new rec center that could accommodate the robotics team?
I believe both the gyms are used.
There's not enough space.
Media center?
There's not enough space in there.
No? Okay.
But,
All right, thank you. Did you have something else?
Yeah, I was just going to mention, I think it'd be good to have a conversation with them about the gym in their building. That would be perfect for them. You know, we may have to work out something with them for what's being stored in it, but that would be a permanent location. Nothing's going to be changed in that building that we know of.
All right.
And so they could go there and be there and have the space that they need. So hopefully we can discuss that.
If you have suggestions for possible locations, please email them, and then once the chairperson and I speak, we can figure out what we're going to do and who wants to serve. If there will be a committee, we'll talk after tomorrow night's meeting and see how things go. Okay.
It would be nice if it could be done over the summer, come up with a resolution for when school starts.
I agree. All right, committee reports. Committee of the whole, we just met to do the, forward the resolutions for the mill rates, temporary rules, personnel appointments, and rules. Councilor Heath, these are all you. Do you have anything to report for any of those 3
Temporary rules, no
committees?
report for personnel and appointments on May 21st, Tuesday. Councilors Perry, Schmidt, and myself met, and we interviewed a few candidates, and we'd like to recommend that the council move forward with their nominations. So that would be David Williams and Laura Baller for the Water Pollution Control Authority, term expiring May of 2022. Mary Gookins and Karen Sherman, both for Community Development Advisory Committee, term to expire February of 2021 for Mary Gookins. Margie, I'm sorry, I keep saying that.
Is that long?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And for Karen, that would be February of 2022, so that's a year later. Andrew Perella for the Beautification Committee, Maggie Jones for Resilience and Sustainability Task Force. Yes, ma'am. And then another alternate, Albert Cologne, for the Ethics Commission.
The other thing, just at this point, we don't need to vote on that because it went through your committee, so it's going to come up in the council.
It went through it was already moved the
Consent calendar.
consent calendar, so I'm just reporting out.
Yes. So the other thing, the clerk, I've asked the clerk to have the Ethics Commission convene just to select a chair. There's nothing pending before them. But when we established the Ethics Commission, we decided we wanted to have a standing committee ready to go in case there ever was an issue. So the clerk emailed people today, and they're going to be getting together, choosing a chair, and just getting to know each other all at once. Councilor Overy, did you have something you wanted to add?
Oh, yeah.
Personnel and appointments? Well, Councilor Heed was reporting.
Yes, is there another, do we have something new for the EDC?
That doesn't go through here. That's appointed by me.
Have you done that?
Yes, your suggestion was appointed. I had emailed you last week on it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
great, very happy. How'd I miss that?
That's okay.
It was a good find.
All right.
Yeah.
And rules. Anything on Rules Committee?
Nothing on this.
Nothing on rules. Excellent. All right, so now we get into new business, Roman numeral 10. And let's see, where did we go? So we're going to be on Councilor Parker for 2019, 386-1, establishment of tax rate for general fund on page 32, please.
Resolution establishing tax rate for general fund taxes due on July 1st, 2019, whereas the representative town meeting has approved a general fund budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2020, providing for expenditure appropriations totaling $129,052,746. Did I say that correctly?
I'm sorry, could you say it one more time?
Okay.
129 million.
$129,052,746, and whereas the town council estimates cash revenue exclusive of FYE 2020, current property taxes will total $38,970,572. Now therefore be it resolved that $1,095,000 is hereby appropriated as fund balance available as of July 1st, 2019 to partially meet expenditure appropriations contained in the FYE 2020 general fund budget, and be further resolved that $88,987,174 is the amount that needs to be raised from property taxes, and be it further resolved that the tax rate for taxes due July 1st, 2019 is hereby established at 24.17 mils per thousand of assessed valuation to raise $88,987,174. Do I have to read the parentheses?
Madam Clerk, do we need to read everything in parentheses?
Yes, you should, because it gives you the detail on how
Okay.
the equation.
In parentheses, $88,987,174 divided by 3 billion, okay, 729 million, no, 7,
Keep going.
okay,
You're good.
$602,117 divided by 98.7% times 1,000 equals 24.17 mils. I so move.
Second.
Sorry, y'all.
That was great, thank you. Moved by Parker, seconded by, was that Schmidt down here by the hearse? Thank you. Okay, any discussion on this? We just had the special cow where we discussed, and we had our questions with the finance director. So I'm not sure if there is any further questions at this point or any comments that the council wanted to make. Councilor Overy.
I'll make one that I think we worked long and hard. We want to thank the RTM for their work, and I think this is great that we can actually have no increase in our tax rate in the town of Groton. And I think the city is pretty happy too. So, what's that scowl? We're all very happy, and we definitely want to thank the finance director and her staff and all the work that John put into it. I mean, really, we all worked well together.
Thank you. I'm going to just read something that we put together from the council to the public. The town council has adopted, will be adopting in a moment, a budget that has stabilized your mill rate. When you elected us, we promised to make the tough decisions in order to do what is best for Groton. We have done that and will continue to do so for the good of Groton, no matter what corner of town you live in. We are looking over the horizon to ensure long-term fiscal stability. We have improved our fund balance from 7 7/4 to 17%. We have controlled cost and limited unnecessary debt while ensuring the health and viability of critical town functions and valuable services that make Groton a better community for all of us. We balance needs and wants to ensure public safety, libraries, and schools are funded without asking taxpayers to shoulder excessive tax increases year after year. This doesn't mean we are standing still. Far from it. We are actively planning for the future. We continue to support economic development and are realizing the smart growth we all want with companies like Thayer Mahan investing in our town. On a daily impact level, the updated pavement management study will be completed, and we are planning for needed infrastructure repairs while initiating coastal resiliency considerations to ensure long-term prosperity. All the while, we continue to seek efficiencies town-wide to best use your tax dollars. More importantly, the council is working cooperatively, side by side, with the schools and the subdivisions in a productive way to benefit all of us in our hometown. We will continue to work on improving the quality of life in Groton. From opening the Groton Community Center to supporting our major employers through the Workforce Pipeline Initiative and the Naval and Maritime Consortium to encouraging the arts with events like Make Music Day, all of these together will help keep Groton the place you want to call home, the place we are honored to serve. Thank you for your trust and your support. Are there any further comments? Councilor Baumgartner.
I'd also like to recognize town staff, particular Director Landry and Manager Bird on an extensive budget season. So thank you for all your hard work, and everyone else who's helpful in the cause.
I concur. Staff has done an excellent job in working with us and helping us carry through our priorities, so we thank you for that. Any further comment? Seeing none, we will vote on 2019-386, establishment of a tax rate for the general fund. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved unanimously. We are on to 2019-387 on page 33, and I believe this is Councilor Franco.
Make a resolution establishing a tax rate for Mumford Cove District Fund due July 1st, 2019. Whereas the representative town meeting has approved a Mumford Cove District Fund budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2020, providing for expenditure appropriations totaling $21,102. And whereas oh my gosh, I am like blubbering tonight. Whereas the town council estimated cash revenue exclusive of FYE 2020 current property taxes with total $0, now therefore be resolved that zero is hereby appropriated as fund balance available as of July 1st, 2019 to partially meet expenditure appropriations contained in the FYE 2020 Mumford Cove District Fund budget, and be it further resolved that the tax rate for taxes due for the Mumford Cove District Fund on July 1st, 2019 is hereby established at 0.34 mils per $1,000 of assessed valuation to raise $21,102. Now in parentheses, it's $21,102 divided by $62,511,603 divided by 99.7% times $1,000 equals 0.34 mils. I so move.
Second.
Moved by Franco and seconded by Aubry. Any discussion on the Mumford Cove District? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved unanimously. We are on to 2019-388-1, establishment of tax rate for Groton Sewer District on page 34. Councilor Heed, please.
I'll make a resolution establishing tax rate for Groton Sewer District Fund due July 1st, 2019. Whereas the representative town meeting has approved a Groton Sewer District Fund budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2020, providing for expenditure appropriations totaling $794,486. And whereas the Town Council estimated cash revenue exclusive of fiscal year ending 2020, current property taxes will total $12,550. Now therefore be it resolved that $100,000 is hereby appropriated as fund balance available as of July 1st, 2019 to partially meet expenditure appropriations contained in the fiscal year ending 2020 Sewer District Fund budget. And be it further resolved that the tax rate for taxes due for the Groton Sewer District Fund on July 1st, 2019 is hereby established at 0.28 mils per $1,000 of assessed valuation to raise $681,936. And in parentheses, that is $681,936 divided by $2,409,994,773, excluding motor vehicles, divided by 99.6% times 1,000 equals 0.28 mils. I so move.
Second.
Moved by Heed and seconded by Franco. Is there any discussion on the sewer district fund? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved unanimously. So we are now on to Roman numeral 10D, 2019-295, FYE 2019 suspense list on page 35. Counselor Aubrey, please.
Resolution establishing the fiscal year 2019 suspense list. Whereas state law requires that once a year a list shall be compiled of taxes that should be suspended, and whereas the accounts which have been determined as uncollectible have been contacted multiple times with no response, and whereas placing uncollected items on the suspense list helps avoid waste of money and staff time, and whereas the taxpayer remains liable for all amounts that are placed on the suspense list, now therefore be it resolved that the following amounts be added to the suspense list as reported to the town council. Town, $513,536. Whoops. Too much. Okay. $513,536.15. Sewer district, $781,076.
No. $781.
Okay, $781.76. Total, $514,317.91. $91.
Cents.
Cents. Oh, God.
You so move.
I so move.
Moved by Aubrey, seconded by Parker. Is there any discussion on the suspense list? And again, we've discussed this in Cal before, that's why we're not doing a lot of discussion right now. Seeing none, all those in favor of 2019-295 suspense list, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved unanimously. Thank you. Item Roman numeral 10E on page 36, which is approval of purchasing manual. Counselor Atwater, please.
Resolution approving a revised Town of Groton purchasing manual. Whereas the Town of Groton uses a purchasing manual to guide town departments in the procurement of goods and services, and whereas Section 9.10.2.1 of the Town Charter requires that the Town Council to establish purchasing rules and regulations, and whereas it is proposed to update the purchasing manual to 1, reflect updated procedures, 2, add procurement policy and procedures for compliance with the Uniform Guidance Procurement Standards issued by the Office of Policy Management and Budget, OMB, and 3, add local vendor preference guidelines. And be it resolved that the Town Council approves the revised Town of Groton purchasing manual dated October 1, 2013, effective June 4, 2019, for 1, updated procedures, and 2, procurement policy and procedures, and effective October 1, 2019, for 3, local vendor preference guidelines. I so move.
Second.
Moved by Atwater, seconded by Zepari. And we discussed this in COW, I believe, last week. Is there any further discussion at this point? Seeing none, all those in favor of 2019-371 approval of purchasing manual, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved unanimously. We're on to Roman numeral 10F. You all have a corrected resolution that was left at your place setting, at your place. I'm a little hungry. Counselor Schmidt, please.
Resolution authorizing Eversource to perform tree trimming and limb removal on Sandy Hollow Road. Whereas Sandy Hollow Road is a scenic road in the town of Groton, and whereas Eversource needs to perform tree trimming and limb removal for maintenance of the electrical lines and poles on Sandy Hollow Road, and whereas the town council held a public hearing on May 7th, 2019, with no one from the public choosing to submit testimony on this item, now therefore be it resolved that the town council authorizes Eversource to perform tree trimming and limb removal for maintenance of the electrical lines and poles on Sandy Hollow Road. I so move.
Second.
Moved by Schmidt and seconded by Zepari. Any question or discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor of 2019-218 say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved unanimously. Counselor Zepari on page
38.
38, please.
Resolution to approve the 2019 Neighborhood Assistance Act proposals for the Town of Groton Parks and Recreation Department, Riverfront Children's Center, Eastern Connecticut Housing Opportunities, Sacred Heart School, and SEC TV. Whereas the Town of Groton has received proposals from the Town of Groton Parks and Recreation Department, Riverfront Children's Center, Eastern Connecticut Housing Opportunities, Sacred Heart School, and SEC TV for the 2019 Neighborhood Assistance Act. And whereas the Town of Groton Department of Planning and Development Services received a proposal from each of these entities to achieve tax credit savings on energy efficiency and energy conservation projects. And whereas the Town of Groton Office of Planning and Development Services supports the proposals from each of these entities and acknowledges that the post-program review will be their responsibility. And whereas the Town Council held a public hearing on the 2019 Neighborhood Assistance Act applications on May 7, 2019. And whereas the Town of Groton Town Council supports the proposals from each of these entities, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council hereby authorizes Town Manager John Burt to apply for, execute, and accept grant funding for the 2019 Neighborhood Assistance Act program proposals for the Town of Groton Community Center, Riverfront Children's Center, Eastern Connecticut Housing Opportunities, and Sacred Heart School, and SEC TV. I so move.
Second.
Moved by Zepari and seconded by Parker. Just as a disclosure, I serve on the advisory board for Sacred Heart School.
And I also serve on the advisory board for Sacred Heart School.
Any further comment? Okay, seeing none, we will vote on 2019-222, 2019 Neighborhood Assistance Act proposals. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved unanimously. That takes us to Roman numeral 10H. And Councilor Heed, would you please read this?
Hereby move that the members of the Town Council, along with Town Manager John Burt, Assistant Town Manager Bob Zagami, Manager of Economic and Community Development Paige Brock, Planning and Development Services, and Attorney Eric Callahan go into executive session pursuant to General Statute, Section 1-206E, for the purpose of discussing a matter which would result in the disclosure of public records or the information contained therein described that being an attorney-client communication involving a proposed Groton hiring and wage theft ordinance, I so move.
Second.
Moved by Heed, seconded by Franco. Give it 1 second, Councilor Overy wanted to read the resolution.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All those in favor of going into executive session for the purposes expressed by Councilor Heed, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? We're in executive session at 7:22.